secrets travel on. I start to believe if I were to leave, in sky the man shaves his hands held high. A cruise beyond, cruise me, babe. A blonde belief beyond, beyond, beyond. Blow me down, no return. I'm so cruise me, baby, on. And the rain sets in. It's the angel man. I'm deranged. Cruise me, baby.
This life will never be done.
The clouds of light and the mist of night over your head. Victims love, be real, deranged love before we breathe. And and the rain sets in. It's the angel man. I'm deranged. And the rain sets in. It's the angel man. I'm deranged. Cruise me, baby.
What's in the world, son? What's in the world, son? What's in the world, son?
Welcome to the last minute show after 2 months a break, right? Or almost 3 actually, yes. I hope everyone had a great summer. Although globally we have been having really hard times, I think, the whole humanity. My main idea for this program for today was to talk about the idea of loss, the sense of loss, not the idea maybe. But I think given the topic, it's very, very hard to articulate that. I wanted to open the show with David Bowie, with I'm Deranged from the album Outside. That album actually has deep meanings for me, a very big importance, but also its meanings proliferated, if you will, since I saw Ivo Van Hove's take on Angels in America. It was performed in this year, but I think earlier in this year, or maybe late 2014, at Brooklyn Academy of Music, and he used David Bowie songs all throughout the show. And most of his selections were my favorite Bowie songs, actually, and they were so right. And his dramaturgy was really simple and bare, almost, so that it kind of revealed very deeply the play's sense of catastrophe. And when you read the text, which I did actually very recently after seeing the show, many months after it, when you read the text, you can sense that there's a fear of apocalypse and an expectation of it almost, but also a fear of it. And then with chance, with hope, with friendship, I guess, the characters manage to overcome that, or at least they persist. There's this sense of persistence against all odds, and that meant a lot to me, actually. But it wasn't what I saw in Ivo Van Hove's piece, his adaptation of it, that it was already lost. At least for me, I felt the resurrection. Not resurrection. It's hard to put. It's somewhat restrained, but at the same time, it wasn't as hopeful, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. I thought that the play was somewhat like that, but I was surprised to find out this wasn't the case when I read. And it was written in, Tony Kushner starts writing in early 90s, 1990, 1991 maybe, and finishes it at around 1993. And more than 20 years passed since then. And I feel like a lot has changed, and nothing much. All of the disease, all of the destruction he mentions in the text has continued. It didn't vanish. It didn't sublimate through people's hopes, through people's optimism. Optimism did nothing except for forgetting, maybe. Right now I have this very, very dark picture of the world as it is when I think of thousands of people trying to find shelter, trying to find some peace, some future, if not the future and the peace that they really want. And I can't imagine what they're going through as I sit here. This is really excruciating. The fact that life goes on, life persists. while at the same time we know very well that huge numbers of people are suffering at the very moment. Like, it is happening now. It's happening now. It's not past, and it's not actually far away. It's happening now. And we are being broadcasted almost with the images, with the news feed. We manage, all of us manage to reach, to know of these things at the very moment as they happen. But it doesn't necessarily increase our effectivity or action. Or maybe it does, I don't know. People are, crowdfunding, doing this so-called refugee Airbnb. And maybe that's an action. Maybe that's useful. Maybe the common people like you and me, maybe our concerns, our small messages changed the governmental policies and affected the countries to open their borders. But I'm not sure that this is the case, or I'm not sure that this eases out the memory or ameliorates anything. Although, of course, it is much, much better than anything otherwise. But I'm not sure that, that our constant updating, our constant knowledge, recent information, not knowledge, I think, but information about these things happening, necessarily help us or them, the people. They're not them, they're us too, but obviously they're undergoing something that we can't even put our imagination to. And likewise in Turkey as well, we are having a dirty war right now. The Turkish army is attacking Kurdish guerrilla, but not only guerrilla, they're also killing civilians. Actually, what they do is to erase the region out of Kurds, bit by bit, and they enact this curfew in a small town called Cizre, and for days, for 8 days, we, the public, the world, didn't quite know what was going on. But we also knew. We also actually had the access to photos. And now the state, the power, does it, knowing full well that these things are known, these things are shared in front of everyone, with everyone's knowledge. They're doing this, and they're barring people to enter the town, do anything. I don't know what kind of action would be possible, of course, at least for civilians, but even the very act of encircling, encapsulating, encaging the people of the town, that's very hard to describe and to think of, to imagine. And yet we don't even need to describe or imagine that. We are being fed with the news, and we are still decapacitated. So I'm thinking I'm thinking about action. I'm thinking about passivity. I'm thinking about inertia. I'm thinking about ignorance. I'm thinking about being informed, being opinionated almost. And what do these things do? What do these things make happen in the world? I feel deep sorrow when I think about me being stay put, unable to even come up with an abstract solution, or I don't know if there's an abstract solution to these things at all, but let's say unable to think something, come up with something within my power, within a mental power, or within a spiritual power. The experts say that, the world has only 35 years left. In Fukushima, you see flowers warped and mutated and still persisting, but not in the way that's in their nature. Our nature has deeply, deeply, deeply changed and mutilated, I think. Human nature. And this grand transformation, I don't know what is it for. I feel like another catastrophe coming. But it's so prevalent that we can't even sense the sheer amount of that. We can't get shocked. Because it's happening all the time. It's only changing its degrees maybe, or changing its location. Sometimes we understand it, sometimes we feel the necessity of action, but sometimes we don't. The war in Syria has been going on for, 5 years now? The ISIS, in different disguises, also has been murdering, eradicating peoples of the Middle East. For how long? How long now? Or the state, Turkish state, has been torturing, erasing, killing, oppressing Kurdish people for how long now? And how long they have been struggling against it. And actually it's only them themselves that managed to struggle against that. And the rest did nothing. I'm, of course, excluding the activists, the leftists, the people that really managed to organize and devoted their lives to politically and to publicly pursue the right cause, the peace. And I'm thinking, what does that entail? What does that take? What is it that we can't do? The majority, I mean. How come we can get so hard to move in a way, to operate as a body? What does it take to become a body that is an active body? All of these things actually can be thought on the level of individual, I think. The individual's body also. But I'm also feeling that we can't think about the individual anymore. for the past 20 years, since the time Kushner wrote his play to today, individualism has become the norm, has become invisible almost. It has become the ethos in everywhere. Even in the places that has a deep tradition of community, or at least a deep philosophical thinking about community. It has become the norm. In the countries that are, historically hegemonically oppressed, maybe especially there, people got more and more isolated from each other, and it became very hard to even take a deep breath out of their reality, out of their material reality of, work hours, cheap labor, oppressive rulers, of course, and a simulation that they endure every day, simulation of freedom. That's where it gets more and more atomic. Of course, all of these ideas, me saying these things, they come from probably a very naive and fragile place. Last Monday was my 27th birthday, and I couldn't rejoice in the idea. I feel like it's an age that you suddenly realize the losses of life rather than the gains or the hope about it, the very joy about it. The day before my birthday also, I lost 2 friends. I knew them when I first moved to Istanbul, in fact. It kind of marked my experience in a new city, and they were really one of the most colorful people I have ever met. And in time people kind of lose their communication, but they know that they're in the same city and they can meet anytime. They can see each other everywhere. And my friends, Boysan and Zilish, they were really active people. They did a lot for the LGBT and feminist cause, and also civilian rights and urban rights. They were always in the forefront of any march or any declaration, and both in everyday life and in public policy, they did a lot. They fought a lot. And actually, they were great models for how to, not relent to inertia and despair, unlike what I am right now. Their activity, their dynamism, their energy seemed endless, and I guess that's how they endured all the misery that they witnessed around them, within the communities or within the society. I knew for a fact that Boysan worked with a lot of transgender people and also sex workers that endured huge violence, and some of them were murdered. And he couldn't stay put. He just went out and did whatever he can, always outspokenly. And through years, since the time I first knew him, to today, he transformed a lot of times, he changed a lot of times, but also the essential part of him was the same. So I'm also thinking about these things, like how this can be a model, and what does it take to be like that? What kind of energy it requires? How one can resist despair and melancholia. And passivity, of course. I think this is a knot that I find myself in right now. A lot of different threads merge at one point. And it is like a big rock that they formed into a knot in my being, and I need to maybe separate them one by one in order to able to deal with them. I don't know how, but each and every one of us have to deal with it, I think. Some of us just put it away, put out of the sight. And I guess, I don't know, within a lifetime that might be a solution for that person. But it doesn't hold anymore. That can't hold anymore. I'm sure I'm not the only person or the first person, obviously, to say that world is coming to an end. And I have heard about it a lot of times until now, but I guess there are moments that it really strikes you deep in your heart, in your stomach, in your body. It's always very physical, or at least it always has to do with the body, to do with the capacity of the body, or where the body moves, where the body goes, where the body is able, where the body is up, standing where standing is a deep form of resistance, or lying down when lying down is a deep form of resistance. Not a superficial resistance, I mean. Not a resistance that does away with the days, with the moment. I'm saying a resistance that persists even when the body is no more. So I guess today, after 3 months, that's all I can say. I was thinking of something else actually. I was thinking of, telling about my experience all through summer, what I was dealing with. I was preparing for a performance of knowledge, if you will, a performance of the knowledge of theater history. I took an exam about this, and it included an oral performance too. And I was going to tell you a bit about it, and maybe play you one of the rehearsals of this. But I think it's not possible for me to do that right now with this kind of sentiment. I think I needed to use this emission to reach out in whatever way, I don't know. To reach out of my room, to reach out of my stability. I'm not endangering anything, I know. This is not even taking a risk, it's nothing. Maybe it's just mere complaint that secretly complies with being passive. But in any case, it feels really painful even to talk about these things, even to try to talk, try to put it into words. Each word is another violence. And yet I have to talk. It is in every third Tuesday for an hour or half an hour. And this is at least something I can do. I guess I really want people like me to feel morbid. We should feel morbid. We should feel horrible and terrorized. Maybe part of it also has to do with being pacified, but then maybe it is from that point that you very slowly, if any, start to move and start to do something, start to persist. So I guess that's it for today. If I can find the song, I will leave you with a song. Another Bowie song from the same album. Yes. So hope to see you. Not see you. Hope to have you next month. And I hope to be in a more strong place. And I hope the world to be in a better place. Not be a better place on its own, but I hope us to, everyone, to make it more endurable.
Well, we're living in a safety zone. Don't be holding back from me. We're living from hour to hour down here, and we'll take it when we can. It's a kind of living which recognizes the death of the odorless man, when nothing is vanity, nothing's too slow. It's not Eden, but it's no shame. There is no hell. There is no shame. There is no hell like an old hell. There is no hell, and its lights are boys. Lights are boys. Explosion falls upon deaf ears while we're swimming in the sea of shame, living in the shadow of vanity, a complex passion for